What's up, ghosts and goblins? It's me, your girl, Nat. And joining me, as always, is my best friend, Katie.
It's me!
And you, my friends, are listening to Wading into the Void.
Da-da! Da-da-da-da!
Alright, so welcome back, Phantom Fam. It's been a hot minute. We took a break for the Thanksgiving holiday.
We did, and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah. Mine was awful, but that's okay.
Oh, I was talking about the break, not Thanksgiving.
Oh. Well, the break was okay, I guess. I don't know. But I hope you all had wonderful Thanksgivings if you're American.
If you're American.
Well, they have Thanksgiving in Canada, but it's in October.
That is very true. I just thought it was funny how you worded it. If you're American.
But I guess, we already said, hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving in Canada, so we don't have to say it again.
Yeah. No, we don't. Happy fucking Thanksgiving.
So, this is definitely one of the best times of the year, with a plethora of holidays that we all experience all around the world. We got Hanukkah coming up, Kwanzaa, Boxing Day, which is apparently the day after Christmas. I've never heard of that.
You've never heard of that?
I've never heard of that. Las Posadas, St. Nicholas Day, Diwali, Bodhi Day, all the holidays in the early winter season.
Yes.
So, good luck to everyone celebrating.
Good
fucking luck. I know it's a stressful time of the year. This actually has nothing to do with my episode today. I just wanted to say I'm excited for the holidays.
She just wanted to wish you all a happy holiday.
Exactly. Because I don't know what it's going to be like in December. Yeah, I don't know what our episodes are going to be like. So
miserable.
No. So
just kidding.
To get started for this episode, we're going to pull some Oracle and Tarot, per usual. I do have a new deck, kind of new, that I've never used before.
Oh, okay.
But we're going to start with the Oracle, as always. I'm going to be doing the Mausolea Oracle of Souls, which is illustrated by Jason Engel with text by Rabbit Stoddard and additional writing by Jason Engel.
Woo!
And the card that we got for today is Aaron, the Master of the Great Hunt. Their domains are Authority, the Hunt, and Natural Balance. This picture's fucking creepy. Imagine, Thor or Odin mixed with, antlers. He's got... So he has giant moose antlers with tusks coming on the side of his head. And then he has, antlers and tusks, coming out all out of his, shoulders and chest piece. And around him, he has a spear that's also, antlers and stuff. It's so crazy.
You know, that sounds actually weird.
And he's holding a giant, curled horn that they go, you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
So, yeah.
It looks like a bone.
Yeah, it looks crazy. So, here's all about Aaron. The Master of the Great Hunt is the lord of his domain, in the sense that he embodies its nature. His power supports his interests, but does not dictate after the fashion of a tyrant, nor attempt to govern it. Those who serve him do so out of loyalty rather than fear, and pursue those paths which are natural to themselves. Aaron directs one to follow one's nature rather than attempting to orchestrate others in pursuit of the most important quarry of all. So, basically, this dude is go with what you do best. Go with what you feel in your heart.
Yep.
I'm not going to tell you to do this. Just do what you're good at.
He's like, just do it.
Because
please.
That's the natural balance of life. It's like, if you have your strengths, play on those strengths. If you have those weaknesses, don't do something that you're weak at. I guess.
He's like, don't suck. It's that simple.
No, well, kind of. But, yeah, so that's that. And then the tarot for today is a deck that I got for a Christmas present a couple years ago. It is the Mystical Universe Guidebook. It doesn't say who it's written by, but it's from the Mystical Universe Tarot store. So it must be one of their, like, basic tarot decks on this website.
I see.
It came in a beautiful velvet bag, and they gave me ritual candles with it. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
But the card we got for today...
Wait, did I buy this for you?
Either you or Claire, I don't know. I think you
think
got
it was me.
You might have got me this.
I think I got you too.
Because you got me the tattoo one, and then you gave me that big tarot, like, sign. And you might have got me this? I don't know.
Yes, I did, because I was going to give it for you for Christmas, but then it didn't show, so then I gave it to you for your birthday.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember. I knew it was either one of you, because you're the only two people who give me tarot decks for, like, Christmas or my birthday.
Other than your grandmother.
That's true. So, the card that we pulled today in the Mystical Universe Guidebook, or I guess Mystical Universe Tarot, is the Knight of Cups. And we got it upright, so that represents romance, adventure, charm, and intuition. The ever-charming Knight of Cups is a man in touch with his intuition and uses his heart rather than his head to guide him through life. He's also a man of adventure. Now is the time to start exploring and putting your dreams and passions to action. So, I've said this multiple times. I say it when I'm reading people's cards, and I'm a big advocate for cards like this. I feel like if it says it's a man or a woman, it's not. I feel like it represents feminine and masculine energy and can really represent anyone. But I also find that it's interesting that this one says this is a person who follows their heart rather than their head in order to guide them to life. And the Oracle card says, follow what's in your heart, what you're good at, what you want to do. So that's kind of nice that they play together a little bit.
Yeah, I really like that.
So, with Oracle and Tarot being done, I want to dive into today's topic, which we haven't really done anything like this before. We've kind of done something similar, but not this exact topic. So, I know...
Dude, when I tell you, I'm excited.
It's gonna be pretty interesting. It's definitely an easier episode for me because we're just kind of discussing things from Reddit again. But this time, I want to talk about some unexplained disappearances.
I'm so ready.
So today's topic is inspired by one of my favorite miniseries by a YouTuber named Scary Interesting. They feature they feature episodes that are titled The Creepiest Cases of People Disappearing, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, And I was like, oh, these are so interesting. And they cover a lot of the more mainstream disappearances. So I took a dive into the subreddit r/unsolved mysteries, and I found one where someone was asking about unsolved or unexplained disappearances that are not super popular, that aren't the mainstream disappearances.
I'm absolutely here for this.
And I found a few different ones that were very interesting.
Okay.
In r/unresolved mysteries, user mdocs asked 2 years ago, what are some less known mysterious disappearances that haunt you? And I'm just going to read everything that they said. I'm curious about unsolved missing persons cases that don't get much attention. When people have asked this previously, I find that the answers are usually still pretty common. Carly Goose, Brianna Maitland, etc. So those are those mainstream people that have probably been covered on Scary Interesting. They said, but what are some of the even less covered disappearances that deserve more attention? And just side note, through this subreddit, I discovered a few different websites that have their cause is to put the information out there for all these missing people that are flying under the radar and not getting the attention that they deserve. And we'll talk about some of those websites in a little bit. So back to mdocs.
All right.
They said, one particularly spooky case is of Wanda Faye Walker, who went missing in 2016, 17 years after her daughter, Larisha Deanna Walker, who also mysteriously went missing without a trace. Both had experienced car trouble, then were never seen again. Authorities believe the two cases are unrelated. But what are the chances that two relatives go missing under somewhat similar circumstances? The chances seem incredibly
That's
low.
Really strange.
Which, honestly, I agree. That's so weird. A mother and daughter, 17 years apart, disappear from car troubles.
That's very strange.
Weird.
It's strange.
mdoc says, another case that interests me is Abraham Poldar. He went missing in Los Angeles, but a car he was borrowing was found in northern suburban San Diego near a lagoon, around 100-mile/2-hour drive from his apartment. So this guy drove 2 hours away, or someone drove his car 2 hours away. They said, the case is near me, which is why it intrigues me. The location his car ended up in is incredibly random, particularly for someone not from the area.
Yeah.
There also aren't many places to go missing around there. There are tons of neighborhoods, busy streets, malls, restaurants, etc. It's not somewhere where you can wander into the wilderness and go undetected. And then they posed the question again, what uncommon missing persons cases do you know about? And they cited their sources, and their sources are, one website is the one that I want to talk about. A lot of the missing persons cases in this subreddit can be found on the Charlie Project website. That's charlieproject.org. They have over 15,000 missing person cases listed there with descriptions of the people, descriptions of how they went missing or what happened around the time they went missing, any, additional information of where you can, tell authorities if you have information, blah, blah, blah. So, it's a really interesting website, and I definitely recommend checking it out and maybe just going through some of the people on there. They have some of the most recently updated missing people cases. They have some of the oldest missing person cases. And some of them get resolved because there's people out there still helping to look for these people. So before we delve into it, that's kind of what I wanted to say is check out the Charlie Project website. And also, I believe another website was the Missing Project, but I'm not entirely sure about that one. Maybe while I'm scrolling through rereading these, I'll find it.
I think I've heard of both of them.
Yeah, they have a lot of information on there. like over 15,000 people. I know that's not a lot of people. A lot of people go missing every single day. But that's still a pretty good chunk of people.
That it is.
So let's talk about the first one. Oh, I don't know if I want to do this one first. Hang on. Let me.
You're like, there's too many options.
Well, I don't want to. The first one's like, whoa. All right. So this is the disappearance of Joan Hansen by an user RMSGo_boat posted this 2 years ago. They said this one is scary, heartbreaking, and infuriating. She disappeared 3 months after filing for divorce and 2 days after securing a restraining order against her husband, Robert Hansen, that required him to move out of the house so that Joan could move back in. On the day of her disappearance, she was on the phone with a friend when she suddenly said that he was there and started screaming. And then the line went dead. The friend kept trying to call back over and over until finally someone answered, except it was Robert. And when the friend asked where Joan was, he told the friend, "She's with you."
What?
Robert was never charged with her murder due to lack of evidence, and their children grew up believing their mother had abandoned them. After Joan's disappearance, Robert racked up a bunch of assault and property damage charges, and law enforcement actually suspected he was the Green River Killer for a short period of time.
Oh, shit!
He killed himself in 2009 after disinheriting his children and leaving an estate worth more than $5 million. So this is crazy. This person called their friend, checking in on them. He shows up. Line goes dead. Calling over and over and over. His response is, "She's with you." Like, he's trying to create some kind of an alibi for himself.
Like, who do you think you are, sir?
Exactly. Unless this guy has some kind of blackmail on her friend, it's insane.
Yeah, no, I'm not here for it.
And the fact that he wasn't charged with anything due to lack of evidence, when that happened, this woman, or whoever called her, must have relayed that information to the police, and they were just like, yeah, no.
No, thank you.
Isn't that awful?
No. Yeah, that's kind of terrible.
So the next one was originally posted by Flying Ponytail. And then we'll go over some of the comments, too, because it's crazy. There were people that knew this person or who was around when they went missing in that area. So Flying Ponytail says, "Probably the most notorious missing persons case in my lifetime in my country is Michael Dunahee. He went missing from Eskimo, BC, Canada in 1991 when he was 4 years old. He went missing within a minute of going out of his parents' sight as he crossed a parking lot to run to a playground. This is a nice neighborhood in a nice city not known for child disappearances. And get this is the most fucking insane part. It's on an island. And police were immediately engaged in the search, set up roadblocks, and were questioning people in the area, and no trace of him was ever found."
What even? Honestly.
That's just insane. Disappeared within 1 minute. On an island. Police were immediately involved in searching for this kid. You would think there would be some type of evidence, some type of suspect person.
A little bit. But no. Apparently not.
It's just absolutely insane.
A tiny bit, but like, what you gonna do, I guess.
Because, like, you would think maybe a car drove off while they were walking or something, and they saw, like, the car and ID'd a car or something. They had no evidence, nothing. The kid just up and vanished.
That's, I think, the one thing I hate with shit like this is that it's like, goodbye. Just like, nothing. You get nothing. It hurts my little heart.
And there was a comment underneath by Kestrel63. They said, I was a kiddo in a nearby elementary school when this happened, and I remember the police coming to us and interviewing each classroom about whether or not we'd noticed anyone hanging around the fields or playgrounds, or if we'd spotted a vehicle parked next to the school for any period of time, etc.
Mm-hmm.
The big excitement was a boy who was taken from class by his parents for a half a day to be hypnotized at the police station because he had witnessed a potential something. We thought that we were all about to be pulled from school and be hypnotized, and that one of us for sure would break the case and find Michael. They were hypnotizing children in order to get any type of information. That shows how little evidence they fucking had.
Yeah, they have absolutely nothing if that's what they're doing.
And then they added additionally, you're right, stuff like that didn't happen in that part of town. I used to walk to school in grade 1 by myself, and we would stay out until dusk, riding around the streets and beaches on our bikes. It definitely sobered us all up and introduced us to the concept of stranger danger, which I feel like that's when stranger danger actually did start coming around, was in the 1990s.
Yeah, it totally was.
They started making those films that you would watch, and I remember watching them in the early 2000s, so it must have just been around that time that they just started making these stranger danger videos.
And, like, Stranger Danger, Jesus, that's like a tongue twister. Mm-hmm. Stranger Danger is, like, so stupid. It fucked up this country for so long concerning child abductions, because children that get abducted, the, like, percentage of those that were abducted by strangers are so slim in comparison to the ones that were abducted by people that they know.
Uh-huh.
And I hate it.
The sad part is, like, things like this can happen in a second. And I know we all judge people who put their kids on leashes, okay? But
yeah, but I get it.
If the kid was on a leash, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I agree. If you know your kid's a runner, right?
Yeah, that's basically what this next comment said from the original person. Or no, from Ziggy's Cod piece.
What? Okay.
They were like, my sister has a child leash for her toddler because he's autistic and a runner. If you know your kid's a runner. But so many people are judgmental about them. Unless a child is in danger or being abused or neglected, people need to stop worrying about how someone else raises their kids, blah, blah, blah. But, like, they have a fucking point.
I think they do.
Why not put your kid on a leash? But whattever. That's besides the point. I don't have any right to say that to you because I will never have children. So who the fuck cares?
Natalie's like, and that's that. So
let me scroll back to the first one that I was going to read because it's just crazy.
I will put my future children on a leash if I know they're a runner. So
she's a runner. She's a track star. Sorry, that's not funny to joke about. God damn it.
It's not funny that the kids are disappearing, okay? But no. I do get a good chuckle out of seeing kids on leashes, okay?
Yeah.
Because they try and hide the leash.
When they look like little monkeys, the leash packs, and, like, it's the monkey's tail that's the actual leash part.
That's what I'm talking about. I think it's hilarious that they're literally, like, trying to hide the fact that, like,
you're
it's
trying
a leash.
to make it cute. Like, I don't walk my dog on the same exact type of leash. Like, but yeah.
I love it.
What pisses me off in all of these, like, missing children cases is, you know, a lot of them are going, or are taken for, like, human trafficking, which really pisses me off. It makes me so angry and so upset, and I wish I could find the people that took them and do horrible things to them that I will not say because I would go to prison. Like, it's just so disgusting. I heard another story of this poor girl. I can't remember her name. It was in one of the videos that I watched, and she was up late. Her mom had gotten home, like, after midnight from work, and she was the oldest one. I think she was 9, and she was up with her little, like, 3-year-old sister, and somebody knocked at the door, and she went to answer it, and they immediately just took her.
That's awful.
And then they had no evidence, but they got a phone call from a girl with the same name saying that she was taken and needed help, but it was, like, all the way across the state. So they were, like, bringing her somewhere. And then they got another meeting with a girl, much older. Like, she was at 14 at that point, 15 maybe. And she was trying to explain, like, this is me. I was taken. I need help. Please help me. And then before the cops showed up, they left because it was like a diner or something. And so they could never help the girl, and they think it was the same girl, and she tried so many times to get help, and she just wasn't able to get help. And I feel like that's probably the case with so many people who disappear in, like, human trafficking situations. It's disturbing. That's why at the airport, they have those posters in the bathroom. Like, if you are a victim of human trafficking, call this number. Say this to this person. Like, it is just so disturbing how frequently things like this happen.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
I hate it.
It's a real 50-50 split. You're either dead if you go missing, or you're in human trafficking. It's those are the two options, and it's disturbing.
It is really disturbing. I hate it. I hate it so freaking much because it's awful.
So, with that rant over, let's talk about this next one. Because this was the second comment on the post, and I was like, whoa.
Okay.
So this person is named Free the Wimple. I don't know what that means. But this is immediately how they start their comment. My brother, Brian Patrick Miller. He was reported missing June 2nd, 2014 by his friend J.E. They obviously censored the person's name. J.E. called the Harris County's Sheriff's Office the morning of June 2nd after he found items of Brian's on his porch. Brian's car was found abandoned a few days later just outside Jacksonville, Texas, by Texas State Troopers, DPS, on Route 78.
Okay.
They ran Brian's plate, saw the missing persons report, and contacted the investigator at HCSO. Unfortunately, the detective in Houston didn't respond in a timely manner, and Brian's car was destroyed.
Excuse me?
They just immediately destroyed his car. After looking at a missing persons report. Like, they're not staring at a big hunk of evidence. Exactly. This is disgusting. So, there was evidence of foul play, as well as my own gut feelings about certain people's stories. Brian's disappearance was not looked into until mid-August 2014. That is early June, July, mid-August. That's 2.5 months.
Yeah,
that they did nothing.
Terrible.
After they found his car and then destroyed it. It's disturbing.
I'm just fucking pissed that they destroyed his vehicle.
That is literally, I don't know what the term is called, but you know when you go to the hospital for a surgery and you can claim malpractice because they fuck you up? This is that. This is like, they fucked up so bad. This is like JonBenet Ramsey. Like, the cops fucked up so bad.
I believe they call it mishandling evidence, but...
Well, yes.
Yes, okay. It is neglectful.
Yes, it's so awful. You are not doing your job. You're, in fact, doing the opposite of your job.
Yeah, no, that's... Wow.
Yes. So they continued to say, myself and our uncle M1, Uncle D, and Aunt L So both of their uncles and their aunt went to Houston to find out as much as we could. We found quite a bit. The whole story is long and convoluted, and I'm working on a write-up at the moment. So they didn't write out the whole thing.
That's not very helpful, but that's okay.
They said a big lead was the fact that 2 other men had gone missing with their cars found abandoned within 2 miles of where Brian's car was found.
I'm pissed.
Not to mention, all 3 disappearances happened within about 6 months of each other.
I'm pissed.
So Javier Jimenez was found dead in the back of his pickup. He was reported missing July 24th, 2014, and was found dead July 29th, 2014. Randall Robertson was reported missing January 21st, 2014. His car was found abandoned 2 days later, and he still has not been located. And then my brother, Brian, was reported missing from Houston June 2nd, 2014. His car was found a few days later. His car was located abandoned 2.5 miles northeast of where he lived. Brian is still missing, and we have not heard from him at all. There are a bunch of shady things that I don't feel comfortable saying or sharing right now, but let's just say my brother was absolutely met with foul play.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so disturbing. It's like, were they all involved somehow in something shady? Was it some kind of a serial killer? What?
That's a really good question.
And I know there's like that huge thing on TikTok about, there's all these serial killers in Texas, like, killing these men, and these men are going and disappearing, and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that guy is right, but this is crazy. And this needs more limelight. Like, multiple people disappeared in a very specific point of time in a very specific area or radius in Houston.
Yeah, no, I saw a little bit about it.
It doesn't seem like they're doing anything about it.
That's because they aren't.
No. It's so sad.
I remember, like, when I first read that was going on, and it was months and months ago, and you'd think that they'd have dug something up by now. Weren't they just saying, like, they all just disappeared on their own? Like, on their own volition?
Yeah. They were like, oh yeah, all these dudes in this area disappeared on this street because they felt like it. What?
Yeah.
Like 20 men just up and disappeared throughout the years on this one street? What are you talking about?
I fucking hate it. Because it's so stupid. And it's just because the police are lazy and don't want to dedicate the actual time it takes to figuring out these disappearances and mysteries. That's all it is.
According to Free the Wimple, it could have been something like drug-related. They said the Jacksonville Progress has a few write-ups about Randall Robertson and Javier Jimenez. It was our luck when investigating around Jacksonville and Palestine that we met a woman who was a former dispatcher and whose husband was a trooper. She told us about the 2 missing men and the meth operations and issues in the area. Meeting her was a big blessing. So this could have been maybe either a drug deal gone bad, or it could be meth addicts trying to get money from people or hurting them, or something just drug related like that. But yeah, it doesn't say how this person died. The one body that was found. But Free the Wimple goes on to say later in the comments, Brian and I are from New York. I live in Buffalo with our extended family. The investigating deputy was not told by JE that Brian had family in Buffalo. I did not know until August, after 2 months of not hearing from Brian. They didn't contact his fucking family when he was disappeared. It's so messed up. I called his apartment complex, and the manager strongly urged me to contact HCSO. I did. Found out Brian had gone missing, that his friend who reported him missing had some shady shit to say. He was reported missing 6/2/2014. His car was first noticed by DPS on 79 in Jacksonville on 6/4/2014, literally 2 days after he was reported missing. The trooper attempted to notify the HCSO investigator in the car and tell them that the car was connected to Brian's missing person case. They never received the reply, which he said originally. They left the car for a couple days. They just left it there. And when it still wasn't moved, they towed it. They towed it on 6/6/2014. Again, a notification was attempted to the investigator. Still no reply. They waited 30 days. They waited 30 days with this vehicle. Multiple times they tried to reach out to this investigator. And then after 30 days, they destroyed the vehicle. I don't understand why it led to that.
And why aren't they reporting this at all to the police? Or are they and they just get no fucking response? I don't get it.
So the trooper originally found it. And then he contacted HCSO, which is the Houston police or something like that.
Gotcha.
And a specific investigator they tried to reach out to multiple times, and they never responded. The trooper did their due diligence, but this investigator completely fucking dropped the ball.
He's apparently very good at his job. He was so private on the private investigator scale that he could not be reached.
They said that there's an FBI task force working in that area, or at least they were from like 2014 to 2018. And the detective investigating Randall Roberson's disappearance is on that task force. So they're still looking into this at the point of 2018. I don't know if they're still continuing to look into it, but the FBI was involved. So this is something serious.
Yeah,
and I'm assuming if it's something really serious, like serial killer or something really crazy like that, or a huge meth drug bust or something,
they won't release information to the public.
They're not gonna, no. Which is really sad. But
I mean, I get it, but
family deserves to have more answers if they have evidence.
I agree with that statement.
Also, destroying that car was probably incredibly detrimental.
Yeah, you don't know what was in it. Maybe the person that, like, kidnapped him, if he did get kidnapped, speculation.
Yeah.
Maybe they left fucking fingerprints on the vehicle.
Or maybe his phone was
some
still
sort
in
of
there.
DNA.
Yeah.
I'm so annoyed. Like, actually pissed.
It's, like, actually disturbing how frequently stuff like this happens in missing person cases.
I'm just baffled by the fact that how many people go missing every day in our country alone.
Yeah,
like,
really
that's the part
disturbing.
that just, like, I hate it. I really do. I don't like it. There is, I just want to shout out one podcast while we're on here, just because I enjoy listening to it. It is called Disappearances. It is a Spotify original podcast, and it's hosted by Sarah Turney, whose sister actually went missing several years ago. And it's very good. She covers a bunch of different missing person cases in the country, internationally, and she is on the board of directors for, I don't remember what organization. Let me see if it's on here. No, it's not. But it's, here, I'm just going to read the little bio quick. In 2020, after years spent searching for answers, Sarah Turney used social media to help bring justice to her sister Alyssa's nearly 2-decade-long disappearance. Now she's teamed up with podcasts to explore the many reasons people disappear and the impact their absences can have on those left behind. And that's free on Spotify. It's a really good show.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
It sounds like it could be right up your alley, Nat. You could definitely go listen to it. I think every episode is around half an hour or so. Mm-hmm. But she does a really good deep dive into the person who went disappeared's history and, like, their family and some of the investigation and everything. But, of course, the case goes cold. So... Mm-hmm. And she has really good messages, and she throws in every episode that in the United States, someone goes missing every blah, 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 blah. She actually tells you, in the time it's took you to listen to this episode, X many people went missing on each episode. Man. So it's like, shit, okay. It's a really good show. I would give it a listen.
Yeah, I definitely will. According to the National Missing and Unidentified Persons Database, which is funded by the U.S. Department of Justice, more than 600,000 people go missing annually, and approximately 4,400 unidentified bodies are recovered each year.
Wow.
That's so disturbing.
It is disturbing, and that last number is honestly appalling.
Yeah. And guess what state is number 1 for missing persons? It's really not a shocker.
Alaska?
No.
I'm sorry, my fucking brain is fried this week.
It's actually California, which makes sense because they have one of the highest
that's not surprising.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Texas, but then I was like, I mean, Alaska's out there in the middle of nowhere, so, like, my ADHD immediate train of thought was, like, spiraling when you asked that. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. I have to read one more thing before we read probably one of our last people. So somebody asked, what percentage of missing persons are found dead?
Oh.
Of the 12,621 missing persons cases in that database that have been resolved, 9,584.
Oh my.
76% were located alive.
Oh!
And 3,037, 24%, were found to be deceased. So about a quarter of the people who are missing that have been solved.
I'm not going to lie to you. I immediately thought that was going to be reversed. So I'm really excited to hear that it was 75.
That's actually good. Yeah. I mean, that really sucks for that 24% of people.
Oh, absolutely.
But at least their families got closure.
Yes, and I think that's the hardest part about unsolved cases like this, so.
Yeah, imagine going 40 years without knowing what happened to your child, without knowing what happened to your sister or your mother.
Yeah.
Like, imagine how heartbreaking that must be to deal with on a day-to-day basis, wondering if you're going to get a phone call, whether it be from the police or from that missing person saying, I need help, I was kidnapped, or I'm still alive. Or, like, I don't know. Imagine never hearing anything, ever. You filed the missing persons report, nothing after.
This episode's making me sad.
It is really sad, but it's also something that's really important to talk about, because I feel like people, like I said, people go missing all the time. And after a certain amount of time, people just forget about them.
Yeah.
And that's why websites like Charlie Project are so important.
Yeah.
Because they keep those people's stories alive and keep that hope there that maybe someday, maybe they'll find the person, or maybe they'll find information surrounding that person that gets them one step closer to either finding a body or finding the person alive.
Sorry, I'm not ignoring you. You just made me think of, I'm trying to remember what this poor child's name was. Do you remember when we were younger seeing the missing persons posters for the young African American boy in the state of Vermont?
No.
Yeah, it's either Vermont or New York. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But when we were younger, I feel like we saw the posters a lot more. And recently, I just saw, I think, like a billboard or something. He, like, still hasn't been found and his family's still searching.
That's just the saddest thing ever. That's so sad.
Yeah. And that just made me think about that, because I always felt so bad for the boy and his family.
Well, they used to hang up those pictures with age progressions in Walmart.
Yeah, they still have, at least at our local Walmart,
Do they?
Missing posters. I don't know if they have the age progression ones, but...
Well, it was, like, in the original Walmart before they rebuilt it. I remember, like, at checkout, they had this whole board of, like, kids with their age progressions on them.
The one we have now is...
I remember being really disturbed when I saw them and realized what they were, because I was still a kid, too. And it's like, I'm looking at a 5-year-old child who went missing 10 years ago and still hasn't been found. It's crazy.
Yeah, right now they're right by the exit. Mm-hmm. Right when you're leaving. Mm-hmm. To the right.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about 2 more cases. These ones are pretty quick.
All right.
And then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
So this one's by Prince Lolita. They said, Marcia Ann Ryan for me, probably because I used to live within 5 minutes of where her car was found. She was 33 and disappeared from the side of a freeway in Mo, Australia, on the 19th of August, 1996. She left work early at 12:30 p.m. on the 19th, packed her car, and began driving to visit her parents in another state with her dog. The last sighting of Marcia was walking along the freeway at 11:40 p.m. on the 19th by a truck driver who offered her a lift, claiming she, quote-unquote, looked distressed. He said he did not see her dog with her. Her car was found abandoned at 2:45 a.m. the next day on the Princes Freeway near Mo, approximately in the location where she was seen by the truck driver. The area where she stopped is a stretch of freeway where the road cuts through a hill and both sides are steep rock. Being from the area, this is an extremely dangerous location to pull over. Marcia's wallet was also found along the freeway roughly 20 kilometers before her car was abandoned. It contained her credit cards and fuel card. No sign of her has been seen since. I think of her every time I drive that stretch of highway.
I hate that she was seen wandering and then just completely disappeared.
Yeah, it's so disturbing. Like, what happened to her car? Maybe she pulled over because her dog had to go to the bathroom or something and it ran away and she tried to chase after it. Maybe she fell and hurt herself and maybe her dog died, or I don't know. It's so crazy. Why did she not go with the trucker? Why did the trucker, like, offer her a ride, but then didn't say what she said after?
I mean, that right there in and of itself is a public service announcement. Do not accept rides from strangers. But it's just, like, you don't know if maybe it was, like, Elisa Lam, that kind of situation where, like, she was having, like, a mental breakdown, or, like, was off some type of medication she was on, or just kind of shit, even going through it at that point in time, and she was just aimlessly going around. And
I'm thinking her dog got out somehow, she was looking for it, and then something bad happened.
I could totally see that being the case.
Because if there was, I just can't think of a reason why she would abandon her credit cards or anything like that if she was planning on going somewhere or meeting someone or something like that, you know. And the fact that she looked distraught, I would think she lost her dog and was looking for it. And maybe that's why she didn't get in the truck with the trucker. But yeah, it's just sad.
If we want to speculate, and I've been watching so much Criminal Minds lately, I'm doing a rewatch, I'm so sorry. But what if it's the case where, and what year is this again, Nat?
I think 1996. Let me double check.
96.
Yes.
I'm just thinking, like, what if for some reason this person in the truck had been stalking her for a period of time and somehow got into her house and unlocked it, and the dog actually managed to escape or whatever. She ran after him, and the whole thing was like this terrible setup so he could do whatever it is he wanted to do. Like, literal spiral in there, because I think my head is just overwhelmed at the moment with Criminal Minds. But I don't know. I hate the endless possibilities with these cases. And I wonder if, since you said we're wrapping it up, right?
I have one more and then we'll wrap it up.
One more. I think what gets to me so much about doing this episode now is they're all so recent.
Yeah.
Whereas what we just came off of was so, like, far removed in the past that it's, like, mind-boggling to think about it, like, still happening, even though obviously it does. But I don't know. It just makes it so much more real.
I have some really real facts to share as well. Okay. So, of the large number of missing persons registered with the FBI in the U.S., did I say missing persons?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
At least you just did, like.
So, this is so crazy to me. A majority of them are obviously female.
Yes.
0 to 20 years old. But what's crazy to me is that 14% of the U.S. population is Black people, African American people, and the numbers of missing Black people compared to white people is actually insane. Like, they represent 37% of missing people.
Wow.
And a huge majority of them are women. And I remember reading about this. It's so sad. In any cases where a Black woman is missing or something happens to a Black woman, like she's murdered or something like that, it almost seems like they don't get any help. Nobody looks for them. Nobody cares. It's disgusting. And it's so sad.
I mean, while we're on the topic of people going missing and absolutely nothing getting done about it, I feel like it makes sense to draw attention to the epidemic of missing Indigenous people in this country as well.
Oh,
specifically
that's
the women.
A whole nother thing on top of it. It's fucking crazy.
Because it's, like, not investigated at all in the slightest. And in the United States and Canada, it's still happening. Women are disappearing at an alarming rate. So,
and then you have the places in fucking Canada where they find mass graves of all these Indigenous people who went missing. It's disgusting. I don't think it's that nobody cares. I think it's that nobody knows what's going on because nobody's talking about it.
Yes.
And it's incredibly sad because these people are people's children's sisters, brothers, mother, father. Like, these people are important to other people. And like I said, imagine going day to day without hearing anything about this person so important in your life. Like, it's so sad and disturbing.
It really is tragic.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not going to read this last one. I think we could probably just wrap it up now.
Since we've depressed you for the last 55 minutes.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a great place to end. A little bit of a public service announcement, some food for thought for everybody to maybe look into these things, see what you can do to help, and just covering an important topic that needs to be discussed more openly.
Yeah, and I know a lot of our episodes, we make jokes, like, we goof around, but at the end of it, these things are all very serious and very serious problems that are still happening. And I feel like as, I don't know, I guess we're not influencers, but, like, having a podcast and having a way to speak to the public.
Yes,
I feel like it's our duty to tell people about this.
Yes, I would agree. And as white women, it's also up to us to use the voice that we do have that our counterparts that are minorities might not have to actually verbalize these things. So, yes. Yeah. So, do your research, investigate this, get involved. I mean, shit, there's so many communities on the internet. There's
so many
groups that you can join, like the one we mentioned earlier when we were talking about Sarah Turney and her podcast. Mm-hmm. There's so many options to get involved. Please get involved.
There's an entire subreddit called Missing Persons, and it is all about missing people.
Yeah, maybe Nat can include that in the description of the episode as well.
Yes.
So,
but
yeah.
I'll include a link of the Missing Persons database as well, and
awesome.
The Charlie Project. And if you happen to have some type of information about a missing person and you're afraid to say something, or somebody has silenced you or something like that, please seek help.
Yes.
Say something. Because think about the people who care about that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess make a decision. Because it's really important.
Anonymous tips are still tips.
Exactly. So that's all I have. Sorry for not being silly goofy.
You did get a lot of that for 5 straight days before this. Yes. So I promise that our next one we do, I believe I will be doing that one. I will try and keep it pretty lighthearted. I'm hoping to kind of go back to the roots a little bit, do a haunting episode. So there'll, of course, be some type of gruesome something at the beginning of it. But because, obviously, I don't know what other way to put it. Obviously, something terrible is going to happen. But we'll try and at least make it pretty lighthearted by the end. Crack some jokes. And, yeah. Thanks for listening, guys, and thanks for coming back after our little hiatus. And we, once again, hope you have a fantastic holiday season, no matter what you celebrate. Adios, my friends.
Goodbye. See you again at some point.
Farewell.
All right.